Speaker Pelosi reaffirms U.S. military, economic and humanitarian support for Ukraine. A local resident transports water jugs with a baby stroller in the besieged port city of Mariupol, Lviv, Ukraine. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi reaffirmed U.S. military, economic and humanitarian support for Ukraine on Sunday, a day after she and a delegation of Democratic lawmakers met with Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky in the capital as intense fighting raged in the country's eastern region. Speaking from neighboring Poland, Pelosi, D. San Francisco, said in a statement that Ukraine needed the West's assistance to deal with the devastating human toll taken on the Ukrainian people by Russian President Vladimir Putin's diabolic invasion. In the port city of Mariupol, which Russian forces have battered with missiles almost daily for several weeks, about 100 civilians were being evacuated Sunday from a sprawling steel plant that is a final redoubt of Ukrainian defenders and hundreds of non-combatants. Zelensky's office confirmed the evacuation, but gave few details. At the Vatican, Pope Francis expressed sorrow over the city's plight, saying its people had suffered barbarously during the weeks-long Russian siege. "I suffer and cry thinking of the suffering of the Ukrainian population, in particular the weakest, the elderly, the children," Francis said. Russian officials said Sunday their military struck 800 targets with missile and artillery fire overnight and early in the day, marking an intensified battle tempo along a crescent-shaped front line stretching 300 miles from southeast to northeast in a 10th week of warfare. The number of strikes could not be independently confirmed, but Ukrainian officials acknowledged intensified shelling in a number of areas. Moscow, which has signaled wider ambitions to seize the entirety of Ukraine's southern Black Sea coast and render the country landlocked, confirmed it had taken aim a day earlier at the airport outside the major port city of Odessa. Ukrainian officials had said those strikes on Saturday left the airport inoperable. Russia's defense ministry routinely describes its targets as military ones, but at least two Ukrainian regional governors depicted the brunt of the latest carnage as falling on civilians. Oleh Syniehubov, the governor of the Kharkiv region, on Sunday used the Telegram messaging app to urge civilians to stay in shelters because shelling was so intense. Serhiy Haidai, head of the regional military administration in Luhansk, one of the two provinces making up the Donbass, the industrial heartland Russia covets, begged people to flee while they still could. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky and House Speaker Nancy Pelosi meet in Kyiv, Ukraine.